Southwestern Family of Companies welcomes you to the Action Catalyst. Each week, our diversely and amazingly accomplished guests share their insights and inspirations to help us ignite our own. So let's invest attention together to breathe, to reflect and refocus, and decisively defeat that voice we call Mr. Mediocrity. Then let's enjoy moving forward to make a positive difference in our world. Privileged to be your host, this is Dan Moore. Welcome to the Action Catalyst. This is your host, Dan Moore. Today begins the first of an 8-episode series in which we're going to learn a great deal about the authors of the upcoming book, Redefining Possible. This is the first one, and it's my pleasure to interview those two authors, Ron Alford and Dustin Hillis. I was honored to be able to write the foreword for this book, and the conversation we had gave tremendous insights into what drives these two amazing leaders and allowed them to put this onto paper for all of us to share. So listen as they give their insights on the book writing process and their mission to help us discover the power of possible. Hope you enjoy it. Well, everyone, welcome to the Action Catalyst. This is your host, Dan Moore. And although every show is special, this one is, in its own ways, unique. I have the chance to interview two gentlemen that are leading the way in the business community in America and in the world, both of whom I had a chance to get to know when they were just college students. So for those of you that are viewing this on YouTube, the background is a training room very much similar to the kind that I met these two gentlemen when they got started in their sales careers. So we're now going to be talking with Mr. Ron Alford, who is Vice President of Recruiting for Southwestern Consulting. It is one of the fastest growing and most influential and impactful consulting and coaching companies in the world. Ron is the top producer, the top leader, and the builder of that business. Also, we'll be talking with Dustin Hillis, who is not only the co-founder of that business, but was elevated to the role of Chief Executive Officer of Southwestern Family of Companies. And yet we know you started out as children. And so I wonder if we could maybe start with you, Dustin, and just share some of the significant pivots in your life that might have led you to the point where you are such a contributor today.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, and glad to be on the show. And, Southwestern finding me is one of the best things that ever happened in my life. I played football in college and was an athlete growing up as a kid, and got hurt playing football. And my dad set me down at the kitchen table one day and said, "Dustin, what are you going to do with your life?" And I said, "Dad, I thought sports would be it, and I haven't thought much past that." And he said, "Well, I think you ought to check out this thing, Southwestern, and give it a shot." I said, "Dad, no. You're the sales guy. I'm going to do something in athletics." And he said, "Well, you want that car, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I want the car." And he said, "How are you going to pay for that car?" I said, "I thought you were going to pay for it, Dad." And so he said, "No, I think you ought to work with Southwestern and that could pay for your car." And he connected me with Southwestern through Ralph Mosley, who was the CEO at that time. And Roger Smith, my sales manager, had Keith Kimball come down and sign me up to sell books. And that was 18 years ago. And I'll tell you what, Dan, at that time in my life, I was hell on wheels and didn't have much going for me in terms of character and positivity and goal setting. And I'll never forget driving to Nashville on no sleep from the night before with all my friends and walking into the auditorium and seeing you on the stage teaching Mr. Mediocrity and talking about positive self-talk and being around a bunch of goal-oriented people. It was the first time in my life I had actually been in an environment that fostered creating character and building people. And I fell in love with it, and I'm glad 18 years later, I'm still here.
I think it's fantastic. Now, I know that you have had nothing but success after success. There's never been a single setback. But could you maybe share one of the early setbacks that occurred when you were developing Southwestern Consulting, and maybe how that helped forge and accelerate really the path that you've been on since then?
Oh, yes. Well, one of my favorite books is The Ragamuffin Gospel, because I can relate so much with Brennan Manning and the imagery of being a ragamuffin. And so in no way do I think I haven't had setbacks. And I think that one of the most notable business setbacks was when we started Southwestern Consulting about 15 years ago. We actually created a model that was a seminar business. So we were moving, we were road warriors, and we would live in different cities every 4 months. And a couple of years into it, we quickly realized the model wasn't sustainable. And I would say a setback was just persevering and keeping our foot on the gas instead of pivoting sooner. And we went in debt. At one point, we were in debt about $1 million as a business. And that created enough pain. And Henry Bedford brought me into his office one day and said, Dustin, I don't know if a bomb needs to go off, but we need to stop losing money here. So we changed our compensation plan. We changed the model. We pivoted to go into coaching and consulting. And ultimately, we ended up shutting the seminar business down and innovated the entire business model. So I would say that was a pivot, and it was painful but necessary. And thank God we did it, because today that is, I guess, since 2010, in the last 10 years, we've generated about $100 million in revenue through the coaching business and had 15,000 coaching clients go through our one-on-one coaching program. That was a result of that pivot.
Fantastic. And Dustin's coming to us today from his home in the Nashville area. And now we're going to shift gears out to the northwestern part of the U.S. in the Seattle area with our good friend, Ron Alford. Ron, so glad to have you on the Action Catalyst. To me, this is like a dream come true. So I would love it if you could share some of those significant pivots. You don't have to tell them how you became a Dodgers fan, because that'll be the end of the interview. But if you could just roll with us, that'd be great.
Yeah, will do, Dan. We bow down to you Red Sox fans still. Well, yeah, I was a military kid actually in the early 90s and went to a high school in a military base in Alaska, and coming back to Seattle, started college and just was searching, like I'm sure a lot of our listeners. And basically I was kind of thinking, man, I'll just follow the path. My dad was 30 plus years military. My older brothers were both Marine Corps vets. And that was kind of the family. I figured maybe my niche would be that I would go to be an officer. So and I was actually preparing for Marine Corps boot camp, where I was going to start really getting ready to rock that fall. And I heard about a crazy summer job. My buddy said, you got to come sell 80 something hours a week, face-to-face rejection, straight commission. You want to do it? And it just hit me hard. Like, man, I really needed something that rocked me and kind of got me out of my comfort zone and really helped me think different. And so that was my first summer, 94. And as Dustin's path started, kind of got my eyes opened up, and obviously met the team. And that was my first time I had really been subjected to just the principles, the mindset, the skills. I mean, a lot of the things that Southwestern breathes. And man, there was no looking back. I mean, I fell flat on my face in so many ways that first summer, but at the end of it all, made good money in spite of that. And was like, man, this is something where I can grow a lot, and I can introduce some of my friends to this. There's people I know that need to get humbled and need to have leadership and have some guidance. And that just started the trajectory. And so I'm 26 years in, Dan, as you know. I've never looked back. I've been part of Southwestern's family for a long time. And even being out here in Seattle, I just could never see doing anything else. And so that's kind of what started it all.
No, I think that's fantastic. One early setback you had, as I recall, was you got a really nice profit check at the end of your first summer and decided to put it all into a truck. Can you share with us what happened with that?
Yeah. I was a brilliant 19-year-old that took my $13,000 check and said, let me go spend this on a brand new truck. And October that year, was going to my new job and drove the truck off the road. I was too cocky to get insurance. I figured I'd never need something like insurance, and totaled the truck. Everything I'd worked so hard for that summer was gone. And it's just, I remember laying on the side of the road with the truck totaled and just, kind of being at a bit of a rock bottom as a 19-year-old kid in that brand new truck, but obviously a learning lesson now.
Mm-hmm. Powerful lesson, in fact. Well, gentlemen, you have come together as colleagues, as friends, as great producers, and you have created this book, Redefining Possible. Redefining Possible, this is just a galley copy, uncorrected copy, but it is the first book jointly authored by both of these gentlemen. It's Dustin's third book overall. Ron's had many books in his head, and now he's had a chance to put this together. As I understand, it was 3 years in the making in this collaboration. I wonder if we could come back to start with you, Ron, and talk about what was the process like? How did two people full of fantastic ideas merge those ideas into a coherent whole? Because I couldn't always tell who was speaking in this book. It's as if there's one voice. Unless you all identified yourselves, I couldn't tell. So what are your reflections on the process of taking what's up here and putting it into something that's like this?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Dan. I think any of our reader or listeners can relate, where it's obviously when we're around like-minded people that just have this heart, where we have this drive. It's a calling. I just think Dustin and I both look at what we do in a similar way, where we feel like it's never been a job. We were put on this earth to do something, and we need clarity. We need reminders. We get defeated often, but we realized through a lot of conversations, so many of the principles we were working with clients on, obviously our families as dads and as husbands, just anything and everything in life. It's just that how can we reach others? Because we need more of this. People have helped us through so many of these things, and we're never going to not need it. It's never ending. But how can we put some of these thoughts that we've been so grateful for into this kind of format and bring this to the world? And with our just kind of that attitude of going out and reaching people that maybe haven't been subjected to a lot of the principles or the skills or the mindset or the emotional control, et cetera. I think that's where it started. And we realized, let's do this together. This is something where we could really, worst case, leave a cool legacy for our kids, something they're proud of. But obviously best case, reach a lot of people that mean a lot to us and a lot of people we don't know yet.
That's fantastic. Dustin, what would you add to that? Collaborating with a colleague who is a couple of time zones away, 2,000 more miles away. How did you realize that both of you feel so similarly about these philosophies and principles that you could join together and create a book?
Well, Ron is my brother from another mother. And I think that I have so much alignment with Ron so naturally. And I hate to admit this, but going back to that story of my very first year at Southwestern, as I mentioned, I didn't go to sleep the night before coming to sales school, which nobody recommends, by the way. Do not do that if you're going to come to sales school. And so I hate to admit this, but Dan, I actually was sleeping through your motivational talks in the back of the room. But there was one person that when they walked on stage, I woke up and I put some water on my face and I moved up to the front row when they talked, and that was Ron Alford. And I remember hearing Ron's introduction of breaking the Mort Utley record, where he hit the highest level of sales more than anybody in the history of our company. And I remember thinking, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and pulling out a fresh sheet of paper. And I wrote down every word that Ron said my first summer. And then to then meet him through my wife. He was my wife's sales manager. So we ended up dating and becoming friends through my wife. And now the chance to work together as business partners at Southwestern Consulting, and now authoring a book. We've gone on vacations together. We are genuine friends. Our families love each other, and so I think it's just a deep connection on a intellectual level. Our work ethic, I think we have very similar work ethic, and we have alignment. So it was easy writing a book with somebody that you have that much in common with, and also mutual respect. I think that was a key piece, is we both mutually respect each other on a deep level.
Both of you were record setters in the Southwestern Advantage program. As you said, Ron hit the highest level of weekly sales more times than anybody in the history of the company. And Dustin, you hit the highest total sales for a season that anybody's ever hit in the history of the company. And yet what really strikes me is so incredible in going through this. We've all read lots of books by very successful people. And there's all kinds of, I did this and then I did that and you all need to go do this, is the underlying tone of deep, deep gratitude and deep humility. So, Dustin, can you talk a little bit about the role of gratitude in your life and why it's so important? Because it is throughout this book.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. I would say just without God, I on my own am a complete wreck. And so every bad decision that I've ever made has been tied to one word. And it took me a long time to figure this out. And that word is deserve. Every time that I have felt that I deserve something, a bad decision has followed the next thought after whatever that is. So if I said I deserve this, whatever it is that I think about next is leading to a path of self-destruction. And learning to let that go and realize all good things have come from God, and that's it. And I don't deserve anything besides death. And there's a difference between having value and understanding that I have immense value, and that there is worthiness and value without feeling entitled, and that you deserve something. And then all that's left is serving other people and helping other people. And it took hitting rock bottom and almost losing my marriage, almost losing my job, and truly having the worst experience that I would wish upon nobody, to understand that the root of it is selfishness. And many years of my life was spent being selfish and looking out for number one. And dying to yourself is a real thing. It actually feels like dying. And on the other side of it, though, is so much joy, so much peace. And that's just now what every day, it's a reminder. Every day is a commitment. And you'll see that throughout the book is that's really what matters when you really want to redefine possible and you really want to have a positive impact in the world. You have to figure out how to not make it about you and help other people.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate what you just said. The awareness that you have deep value, but that doesn't mean that you deserve anything. It just means you're capable of giving. And that when we have an attitude of gratitude, then we're almost compelled to use that value to improve the lives of others. And that's coming through loud and clear in what you're saying and who you are. Now, Ron, you have achieved so many amazing things. You are a world-class extreme distance athlete. You have an amazing family, tremendous business success, and yet you're so open about your screw-ups, your failures, your falling short. The humility that always exudes from you has been, to me, an amazing example. What does humility mean to you? And is it a barrier to people being successful?
Oh yeah, Dan, thank you. I was kind of chuckling when Dustin was talking because I was thinking the only thing I think I've consistently beat him at is failing more than he has. My marriage didn't almost end, and it's yeah. So yeah, I don't know when or how, but I've always had this feeling in my heart where we're all broken, and the ones that try to act like they're not are the ones that are hiding. And I talk a lot with clients and our fellow coaches and friends and whatnot about just what are the real character traits we want to be known for. Like, to me, it just really, when I slow down and when I run in the mountains with no headphones, when I wake up and I have stillness and I think, what are the things that I want to emulate, or the things that I want to pass on to my children, or the things that I value the most in the world. I just love people that have humility. They don't act like they have it all figured out. I love being around them. And that's part of why I've loved getting to work with you, Dan, for so many years. But so if I love that so much in other people that I admire and respect, why would that not be numero uno? Like, why would that not be the first thing I'm going after? And so I also just realized that my kids could care less about any trophy. They think I'm a dork, and any old plaque I won is somehow, some way in a garage. The money's come and gone. It was almost like losing that truck. Like you work for something and you think, I have made it. I have this shiny new truck. Well, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And, I just think to be able to laugh about that, and it is just something that I really want to always be able to do. And so, that's just something I admire a lot in people I respect. And so that's a trait that I want to work on more. I feel like I got a long way to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ron, one of the things that is in the book that is so powerful is how both of you talk about faith. And for most of us, we immediately think faith in a deity, a higher power, faith in God. But you expand beyond simply that. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what faith means in the context of this book and of people that want to do better in life.
Yeah, you bet. I think when we slow down and we have stillness, and we, again, kind of going back to my morning or my running out in the mountain, and we truly try to look within to find our vision. Like, what are we really going after? What are those character traits of what we want to be known for? What's the legacy we want to leave? What's the, like, if it is on my heart, if I feel strongly about it, it came from above. It's for a reason. Like, it's fact. Now, along with that, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And so every time I'm going after something that I believe is significant, it's not just some worldly success. It's not some sort of a, here today, going tomorrow. It's a significant thing that's lasting. Then that is worthy of pouring my heart into. And every time I have little setbacks or whatever, it's having faith to persist. It's having faith to believe, okay, that's the beauty. The struggle is the beauty. Like, we have to have the roadblocks. We have to have those detours and those setbacks, because that's what inspires. And that's where, as you know, the book, the end goal and everything we're working towards in this book is, what is the impact we've left on other humans and our brothers and sisters on this earth. And the only way we can do that is by overcoming the challenges. People really don't care about your money and your trophies and your awards, but they'll actually listen when they see, like, wow, you've actually had to work for that. You've had to fight for that. That wasn't handed to you. And so that, to me, is where faith is so strong. Like, to get it, we have to have faith. Otherwise we give up too quickly.
Mm-hmm. And you always put your faith followed up by action. Listeners, I hope when you read the book, you read very closely the chapters where Ron brings up his son Van, one of his twins, and the terrible battle he fought and won with leukemia, and how important the role of faith was in keeping the family together, keeping focused, building a business at the same time. Just incredible. Dustin, you speak a lot about confidence, and you expand it in ways that I've just never really thought about before. Because we often think that a confident person is the one that just says, I can do anything. I'm an unstoppable force. And although that is an affirmation you use, and that definitely is part of your persona, you speak about something called false confidence, conditional confidence, unconditional confidence. Could you expand on that? Because it's one of the most fascinating parts of the whole book.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the reason I actually switched my major in college to psychology. I was one credit shy of a business minor, and I turned on a dime after attending my Psych 101 class. And the teacher talked about the different levels of confidence and taught false confidence, conditional confidence, and unconditional confidence. And applying that to the business world and thinking of how that applies to selling specifically, it really changed a lot for me, and have continued to read. I've probably read a good 50 books on the topic of psychology and the concepts of confidence. And really, the false confidence is where a lot of people live, and it's confidence based off of cockiness, where you say you're going to do something, but you have no evidence, no support for doing it. And it's the people that, I'm big, I'm bad, I'm amazing. And the amount of people that have said they're going to break the company record, or the amount of people when we're interviewing them at Southwestern Consulting and they tell you they're going to make all this money, they're going to do all these things. I mean, it's a long list of people that talk a big game and they don't back it up. And I'm sure all the listeners right now could think of at least 3 people in their life who is a false confidence person who talks a big game and has no evidence to back it up. Really, false confidence is rooted in fear. And usually the people that talk the loudest are the scaredest, and it's a defense mechanism. The second level is conditional confidence, and this is where most of the world presides. And conditional confidence is basing your confidence on results. And it's natural to feel this way. I think we're actually conditioned to have conditional confidence. The world, society trains us to think if things are going well, then you should be more confident. If you're happy, if you're seeing success, then your confidence goes up. So the birds are chirping, the sun is out, life is good, I feel confident. In the world of selling, hey, I just landed a new account, I have new clients, my income's going up, I feel confident. So they attach their confidence to results. The problem is that results aren't controllable, and results come and results go. And it makes the experience of people's confidence being like a roller coaster. So people that live in the unconditional confident world, they have high highs and they have low lows. And they allow things like the economy, the state of the world. It depends what the latest news channel is saying. It can affect their confidence because what that news anchor says makes them internalize it, and things aren't going well. So now I'm not confident. So that's conditional confidence. It's rooted in others. It's rooted in what other people think, and it's rooted in insecurity. The last level, the third level, is unconditional confidence. And this is what we coach all of our clients at Southwestern Coaching to strive for. And this has been a goal of mine for over 15 years now, where I have been following an affirmation around unconditional confidence. And unconditional confidence is having your confidence rooted in your belief system and your activity, and following the controllables, and knowing that sometimes you're going to do well and sometimes you're not. And when you can, I love what the greatest coach of all time, Pat Summitt, said, is the true champions treat winning the same way they treat losing. And to hear Candace Parker talk about that recently at her keynote at the Southwestern Family of Companies, it just made me so motivated, because it's like, that's what unconditional confidence is tied to, is when you are not thinking about losing and you're not thinking about winning, but you're thinking about who you're coming in the process. You think about the journey and ultimately controlling the controllables, because success will come with perseverance. Success will come as long as you never give up, as long as you stay true to the principles that are right, that are the center of your beliefs. That's what unconditional confidence is about. And when you have unwavering beliefs and you live your life by a set of principles, nothing can rock you. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world. It doesn't matter what's happening to you. There will be no fear. There will be no anxiety. You'll just have peace, and you'll have understanding, and you'll have unconditional confidence.
So if I root myself in the right principles and I identify the right actions to take to help me achieve meaningful goals, then I can also have unconditional confidence.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. Ron, I want to extend a little bit on the subject of confidence, because at the moment we're doing this as the world is still coming out of the COVID-19, not unprecedented, but unprecedented in all of our lifetimes, of course. You talk a lot about what are called confidence anchors. Confidence anchors. We've all been in a storm. One of my guests said, sometimes people say, oh, we're all in the same boat with COVID. His response was, no, we're not in the same boat. We're in the same storm, but our boats are dramatically different. Some have a yacht, some have a dinghy, some are just on a piece of wood hoping to hang on. We're all in the same storm. So, Ron, talk to us a little bit about confidence anchors when we're in a storm, how that works.
Yeah, man, it's such a cool topic. It's the storm analogy is so, appropriate because it's, and the realization that this is just the latest storm. And we all have heard quotes of, we're either in a season of a valley at the moment. We're either leaving a valley, we're in it, or we're about to go into it. And if we get that attitude that that's normal, then what I find is that people don't have all these rationalizations or excuses for low points in their year, and I'm not just talking business. I'm talking about as a parent, in their fitness, in their marriage, whatever. Like, oh well, you see, what happened was, well, like, of course, because that's life. So it's kind of like the more we wrap our heads around, get used to it. And I think the whole idea of a confidence anchor is, it's not avoiding valleys, it's minimizing them. It's minimizing the valley and maximizing the peak. It shortens it, because I think when valleys hit us, whether it's something with our children's health or something with our finances or an unexpected client loss or just something, or a global situation like what's going on, it minimizes the valley in our own life. And so confidence anchors just remind us there's all these times, and this is where it's important to get in vivid detail, like really specific about times in my life as a middle school kid when I made that team when I shouldn't have, as a college kid when I did this, in my early career where I stayed the course when someone else quit. And nothing's too small. What'll happen is our mind starts thinking, oh, well, that's not big enough. That's not really. It is. Give yourself credit. The importance of a confidence anchor is giving yourself full, again, you and your creator, obviously. This isn't an ego thing, but it's saying, look, we've been here before and we can do this. And it's just those reminders that we're in that storm, and anchor is immovable. Like no matter how rocky the dinghy or the piece of wood, like you said, gets, when we've got that anchor, it helps us remember, okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to, and even as a world right now, you look at over historical things that happened BC, in Old Testament times, and then obviously times, in world wars and all these kind of things that our nation and our world have gotten through. And it gives you faith that we're going to get through it again. Now on a personal pandemic, that's a global version, but when we're having all of our own personal ones, same principle applies. We can do this. There's meaning in this. This actually will be looked back as a gift. Like the valley I'm in right now will be something that inspires people. And that just kind of steadies us in the storm. I think that's the first step.
I think that's just such an amazing concept, because it doesn't cost any money. All it costs is using an accurate memory of what we've done, and celebrating that and nurturing it, so it doesn't get crowded out by the glaring spotlight of the things we dwell on regarding our failures. And I think that's just so fantastic and wonderful. Everyone, there's so many things in Redefining Possible that we're going to do a little bit of a shift here in the Action Catalyst. And over the coming weeks, we're actually going to be hearing from Ron and Dustin as they interview some of the subjects that are highlighted in the book, individual people that help to illustrate and demonstrate that. And so I'm very, very excited that they're going to be with us for several weeks in a row as we explore the concepts, the 7 tremendous concepts that help us all to redefine possible. And it's going to be a really fun experience, and a learning experience, and a growing experience. So on behalf of all of our listeners, Ron Alford, Dustin Hillis, colleagues, friends, givers, thank you so much for being on the Action Catalyst.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. To stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst, and Twitter at Catalyst_Action. Thanks for listening. This episode is sponsored by Southwestern Coaching. Southwestern Coaching has helped over 12,000 people increase their incomes by over 25% on average. As a successful salesperson, you know the importance of increasing your sales, but sometimes you might just need a little extra push and accountability to meet your goals and grow your business. Southwestern Coaching will help you increase your income through one-on-one sales and leadership coaching tailored specifically to your needs. Together, we will elevate sales. To schedule your free one-on-one business action planning session with a Southwestern coach, go to www.southwesternconsulting.com/action catalyst.